What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction. Back with some more Pet Shop Boys as we continue through Nightlife 1999. Thank you again to Seb. And this is another case where in the folder, the main file title seemingly only shows part of the title, and I was amused when I queued up the track and the metadata showed the full title, meaning in the folder it said, "You only tell me you love me," which, okay, already that gives you a sense that the person speaking feels like lip service is being paid to them, but that in a more substantive manner, the love that is supposedly felt or given is hollow or is not making them feel loved and is perhaps just someone trying to convey a notion that is not true in fact. Luca, why don't you rest there? And then I open the file, and as I said, in the metadata it says, "You only tell me you love me when you're drunk," which I suppose has some of the same connotations and yet definitely is a more specific context. So the idea that when one's brain is inebriated, you might say something, I suppose you could go two different ways with that. You could say, like, number one, it's just someone speaking where they are articulating thoughts and feelings that might not be grounded but are coming out of their brains and mouths because they are tipsy. But maybe you could go the other way and say, actually, maybe they're more guarded normally when they're sober, but when they're drunk, they're actually saying how they really feel because they don't have those inhibitions or guards up, and thus they're saying something which is actually valid, but which they normally would withhold. If I'm inclined to hypothesize, and if it is either of those scenarios, I'm thinking maybe the former. The idea that someone just kind of lets things fly and says various things when they're drunk, but then when they're sober, they're not nearly as affectionate or loving as they might have said when they were drunk. So, yeah, let's see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is Pet Shop Boys. The song is "You Only Tell Me You Love Me When You're Drunk," and it's from their 1999 album, Nightlife.
Tell me you love me when you're drunk. It's better than nothing, I suppose. Some doors have opened, others closed, but I couldn't see you were exposed to the hearts behind some of those. Somebody said, listen, don't you know what you're missing? You should be kissing him instead of kissing him like a hug. You only tell me you love me
on. That's gonna be like 3 minutes long, maybe? Yeah, just more than that. So, okay, number one, it's still electric. There's that cycling, or rather phasing close and phasing farther bass line, which I enjoyed. There's definitely the string synths, which I very much associate with Pet Shop Boys now that I've gone through a reasonable part of their catalog. And there is this overall electronica pop type of sound, but the acoustic guitar here is very prominent, and it was like central to the melody of the track, so that did stand out to me. And yes, like I think the narrator is unsure, excuse me, of one or both of the scenarios I raise, where like he's not even sure if this other person, his partner, is more sincere or less sincere when they're drunk. And I mean, he starts out by saying like, "What a performance tonight," as if you're saying like, "Oh, you know, you said it tonight when you're drunk, but when you're sober, you know, what's your attitude? What's the feeling?" And it sounds like even his friends, the narrator's friends, are saying like, you know, why don't you leave? Why don't you say goodbye? It feels like, you know, you might end up getting caught in this because you're sort of in this limbo where the other person is occasionally affectionate when they're drunk, but then when they're sober, it's like you're not together, or you're not getting what it seems like you deserve. So yeah, if I heard some of the lines right, it seems like the narrator isn't actually sure what to make of it, and what's like the real sincerity. Is it, you know, when they're being more guarded or cold when they're sober, or is it when they're actually saying "I love you" when they are inebriated? So yeah, I am curious if I'm hearing that right, and if it is more clearly one way or the other, do let me know. But yeah, I enjoyed, and you know, people mentioned, I think a few folks mentioned, I remember Joseph and maybe a couple others saying that like, you know, Neil's gone through some complicated emotional relationships, and so some of these songs, which have this kind of tension and emotional unease, and maybe a feeling like they're not being treated as they should be, as the narrator, maybe are autobiographical, or at the very least are drawing on his autobiographical experiences. So maybe this is another one that fits into that vein. But yeah, a very interesting one sonically, in that, again, it had electricity, it had synth pop sounds and string synth sounds, but that acoustic guitar seemed to give it a bit of a different flavor. It's like when I hear like an Erasure tune, which has a prominent acoustic guitar, it's like, oh, like, you know, this is a bit outside what they often do. So that did catch my ear. In any case, let me know what you think of this one, and I will see you next time. Peace.